Let me first of all say that I'm not against borrowing. Even the greatest countries in the world, America, Japan, China, all are big borrowers. But they borrow for physical, tangible, and accountable projects that you spread and pay over time. But my worry is not even in the borrowing, it's what you borrow for. Let me give you quickly a rundown of what I checked. You see, in June 2023, $500 million was borrowed for women program to scale up what they call MPWPSC. Can you see that? Can Nigerians see it? Where are the women? Then on June 23rd, the same day, $800 million was borrowed to cushion the impact of high petrol prices after fuel subsidy removal. How? Where? Then on September 23rd, 2003, under the same government, $700 million was borrowed again for Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment. Then, on December 23rd, the same thing, $750 million borrowed through what they call renewable energy scale-up. Then June 2024, $1.5 billion was borrowed to support Nigeria's reform for economic stabilization to enable transformation.
That one sounds very spurious, I have to be honest.
Okay, you see? Then in June 24th, $750 million again was borrowed for immediate financial and technical support for efforts to stabilize economy and to scale up support to the poor and most economically at risk. Then on September...
Well, they would argue, that particular one, that they've been making payments to a lot of poor people.
Where are the poor people?
Some of their cash transfers and things like that.
Look, whenever you're doing something, if it is true, somebody will come out to say thank you.
But are these loans, are they approved by the National Assembly? I mean, do they pass through your Senate for approval?
No, what passes through the Senate so far as this is these are itemized.
Right, the bulk of it passes
No, the bulk,
through.
you don't pass the bulk, you pass the itemized. If, for example,
right.
before...
So were all these itemized things approved?
Not to my
so you're saying they're extra?
Not to my knowledge, not to my knowledge.
Because I know that...
Because such amount, the medium-term expenditure framework.
Right.
It's something that they bring and we look at and maybe approve it, but that is not to say it's a blanket.
So you're saying these things are have bypassed the National Assembly?
That is it, so far.
The reason I say that is that I know that in November 2024, the Senate approved, like, I don't know, 1.7 trillion naira or something to that effect, that the government had requested, which is like several...
No, it's not. Charles, get it clear. Before you pass the budget annually, there's the midterm expenditure framework that must come before the National Assembly for approval. These are the things that the government is anticipating to spend, but that is not to say that even if it is approved, it is a blanket approval. No.
Right.
Every item, every of this...
must be accounted.
Yes.
Right.
No, because you need to ask questions. How are you going to do that? How is it important? And when is the money? What are the terms? All these things are supposed to be discussed first before you engage in it. That is the National Assembly approval. But as I said, when you total these borrowings, the figure I got here is about $9.45 billion, which translates to about 13 trillion. And as I said, I mentioned most of them. These are items that are either intangible, those items are not, it has nothing to do with infrastructure. I would have supported, for example, that the country is borrowing even more than that to build our infrastructures, to build railway,
right,
to build our
But you're
roads.
saying that these things that you're mentioning,
Yes.
they're not tangible things
They are not
that
tangible
you can
things
hold on
that you can hold on to.
Right.
And these are things that you pay in the next 40, 50 years.